JBN will keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, Hilton Sam seals dubious claim on ganja imports. Opposition spokesperson on industry, investment and global logistics, Anthony Hilton, is disputing the reported claim made by Industry Minister Oben Hill that cannabis being imported from Canada into Jamaica is for research purposes. Hilton labeled the comment reportedly made on radio by Hill as dubious at best. The unusually large quantities of flowered cannabis imported into the island, reported to be around 140 kilograms in total, is far larger than the typical research quantity, which is around 1 to 5 kilograms of cannabis, Hilton said in a release. Continuing, the opposition spokesperson explained that the more successful dispensaries sell about 15 kilograms of cannabis per month. So the imported quantities are large, even for commercial purposes, and would represent an abuse of the Research and Development License, even if that was a license approved by the Cannabis License Authority, CLA, for the importation of the cannabis. Hilton is calling for the fulsome and immediate release of the details relating to the ganja imported from Canada by Minister Hill, rather than in the dribs and drabs that the information has been coming to the public, he said, arguing that confidence in the CLA and the ministry is being undermined. 5 shot, 1 fatally, at shop in Westmoreland. 5 people were shot, 1 fatally, in George's Plain, Westmoreland on Friday night. The deceased has been identified as Roger Mott, otherwise called Boy Boy, late of Burnt Savannah in the parish. Mott is believed to have been in his early 20s. Reports from the police are that the men were among a group of people at a shop when 2 men armed with handguns disembarked a blue Toyota Corolla Axle motor car and fired at the crowd. When the shooting subsided, Mott was found suffering from gunshot wounds to his abdomen, and the other injured men received gunshot wounds to their leg, foot, hip, and thigh. They were all rushed to the hospital by relatives, where Mott was pronounced dead and the other 4 admitted in stable conditions. No motive has yet been established for the shooting. Unwell cop dies in crash on way to hospital in St. Catherine. An ailing policeman was killed in a single-car crash on his way to seek medical attention in St. Catherine late Friday. The deceased has been identified as 31-year-old Constable Ricardo Williams, who was assigned to the Denham Town Police Station in Kingston. Reports are that Williams, who suffered from kidney disease, fell ill while at home in Bogwalk, St. Catherine. The cop reportedly drove from his home about 11:30 p.m., heading towards the Linstead Hospital to seek medical attention. However, upon reaching the Church Road intersection in Bogwalk, the Toyota Corolla motor car, which he was driving, got out of control and hit a utility pole. Williams suffered head injuries and was rushed to the Linstead Hospital, where he later died. The Bogwalk police are investigating the incident. Man killed. 3-year-old and grandfather shot and injured in Portmore. A man was killed, and a 3-year-old child and her grandfather shot and injured following an attack by gunmen in Southborough, Portmore, St. Catherine on Friday evening. The dead man has been identified as Robert Reed, otherwise called Willie Reds, a 42-year-old food vendor from Southborough. It was reported that around 7:10 p.m., Reed was serving customers at his food stall when he was pounced upon by armed men who opened fire, hitting him to his upper body. He fell to the ground, after which the gunmen fled. It was thereafter discovered that the 3-year-old and her grandfather who were nearby were also shot and injured. The grandfather sustained injuries to his left thigh and lower back, while the child was injured in her left shoulder. They were both assisted by residents to hospital, where they were being treated in stable condition. No motive has yet been established for the attack. 2 brothers gunned down in St. James. 2 brothers were shot dead by gunmen in Rampton Square, St. James, on Friday night. They are Dean Waite, otherwise called Scatto, 54, and his brother Dwight, also known as D. Rami, a 51-year-old shopkeeper. Both men are from Roehampton. Reports indicate that around 9:40 p.m., the brothers were at a bar owned and operated by Dwight when they were pounced upon by gunmen who opened fire at them. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, the lifeless body of Dwight was seen lying on his back in a pool of blood, with what appeared to be gunshot wounds to his head and upper body. Dean, who received a gunshot wound to his abdomen, was rushed to the Conway Regional Hospital by residents, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Police reportedly found 4 9mm spent shells at the crime scene. No motive has been established for the killings. Body of woman found in bushes in St. Catherine. The body of a woman was found in Glade District, Caymanas Bay, St. Catherine, on Friday afternoon. The body was discovered by residents who followed a blood trail, the police said. Police said the woman, who up to this morning was still unidentified, was about 26 years old, of fair complexion, about 5 feet 3 inches tall, of medium build, black hair and straight face. It was reported that around 2 p.m., passers-by were walking along a dirt road and observed what appeared to be blood and a pair of white slippers with pink and blue spots along the dirt track. They further observed blood spots in the nearby bushes, and a further search of the area, about 20 feet away, they found the deceased lying on its side, clad in a white t-shirt only. The police were summoned and upon investigating, realized that the body had what appeared to be stab wounds to the neck and head. It was removed to the morgue. Thieves dressed as scalps robbed Chinese businessman of $10 million. The police have confirmed that a Chinese businessman was robbed of $10 million after gunmen posted a sculpture into his home in St. Andrew on Wednesday. The police said that the men drove behind the businessman as he entered his gated apartment complex in the Oakfield area sometime after 9 p.m. The men reportedly told the Chinese national that they needed to search his home in relation to a matter they were investigating. Upon entering, the men located the sum of money and took the businessman with them when they left the premises. He was later released not too far away from his home, said Senior Superintendent Marlon Nesmith, who is the head of the St. Andrew Central Police. According to SSP Nesmith, the men were dressed in blue clothing and reflective vests. It is alarming that these men are brazen enough and still not appropriately attired to give that 100% semblance of police officers were able to carry through this robbery. These men, from all indications, are not police officers, Nesmith said. The police say that the businessman is a proprietor of several wholesales in the corporate area. Suspected drowning in Portland, deceased suffered from epilepsy, cops say. Police in Portland are probing a case of suspected drowning after the body of a man washed ashore at Folly, Port Antonio, on Saturday morning. The body is that of 29-year-old Kevin Johnson from Anchoviland Settlement, Portland. Johnson, police said, suffered from epilepsy. It was reported that the now deceased was last seen Friday morning when he left his home. When he did not return home for lunch after 4 p.m., relatives became concerned and went in search of him. He was not seen, and so report was made to the Port Antonio police about 8:30 Friday night. The police and relatives conducted a search in and around the Port Antonio area. However, he was not seen. About 7 on Saturday, a relative of the deceased, while searching on the Folly Oval, saw the body floating in the theater section of the compound. The police were summoned, and upon arrival, the body had washed ashore and was seen lying on stones on its back on the seashore. The scene was processed and the body removed. The police said foul play was not suspected at this time. Truck driver charged after 2 women killed in crash, granted $1 million bail. Truck driver Maurice Baker, who is charged in relation to the death of 2 women in a crash last month, was granted bail in the sum of $1 million in the St. Catherine Parish Court on Friday. Baker, 27, is charged with 2 counts of vehicular manslaughter in relation to the deaths of Rikisha White and Rikia Garrison. The matter was mentioned before Senior Parish Court Judge Desiree Lane. Bail was granted on conditions that Baker reports to the Spanish Town Police every Saturday and surrenders his travel documents. A stop order was also placed against him. The judge did not entertain an application by his attorney, Kemoy McEachron, for the bail amount to be reduced. The matter is to be mentioned again on May 19. Allegations are that about 3:35 p.m. on Monday, February 27, 2023, Baker was driving an Isuzu motor truck along Walks Road in Angels, St. Catherine. Upon reaching a section of the roadway, he reportedly detected smoke inside the vehicle, looked down and lost control of the vehicle. The truck reportedly drifted to the right and crashed into a Toyota Probox motor car that was driving in the opposite direction. White and Garrison were among 5 people in the car who suffered injuries. The 2 later died. Baker was warned for prosecution, and following an investigation, he was formally charged. The bail application was made by Baker's attorney, Kemoy McEachron. Government to address poor working conditions affecting Met Service workers. The government has promised to resolve issues affecting staff of the Met Service who were based at the Norman Mall International Airport. The workers have been relocated and are reportedly upset about their current working conditions. They say their new location is unsuitable for carrying out their functions. This has resulted in disruptions in the delivery of daily forecast. Matthew Samuda, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, has confirmed that talks are scheduled to be held shortly to address the issues raised. He said that he had toured the facility to which the Met Service staff had been transferred and deemed it unacceptable, adding that he was particularly upset at the conditions there. But there are meetings scheduled to resolve the issues with the airport operators and indeed with the airport's authority, he said. Man awakens to shouts of fire, sees destruction of car and business. An alarm raised by concerned residents of Ricketts Avenue, St. Andrew, helped to save the life of businessman Owen Wright from a fire that ravaged the premises where he operates two businesses, destroying his motor car and millions of dollars worth of equipment. When Wright, a mechanic and a producer of sawdust, arrived at the location Friday morning from his residence in St. Catherine, he felt tired and decided to take a nap. Midway into his rest, a fire of unknown origin developed and quickly grew out of control. All me can say is that there was a fire and somebody wake me up. Me have some work for the pony truck. So me say me then go in and get a little rest. While me a rest, I could hear somebody a bang down the door. And when me come out and look, me see fire right to the place. Me lose everything. Machine and everything. One machine cost close to $1 million. Me lose my car, which is a 2007 Caldina. When me come out, everything dey on fire. The fire rage breeze a blow and the smoke high. By the time me come out, it never take long for the fire brigade to get here, he said, explaining that his motor vehicle was worth more than $2 million. One male resident said that he had to rush from work to get to his house because the details of the fire that his stepdaughter had been feeding him with over the phone sounded serious. He expressed sympathy for Wright, who he described as a good man who helps to provide young people in the community with employment. A whole heap of people the boss help. I know youth work over here when they have nothing to do. This is a bad energy. He's a good man in the community. I was at work on Hope Road when my stepdaughter called me and said fire. She said it had reached a tree and was burned over the next door yard and them. When me shoot down here, this is what me come say. A female resident said that it was not the first fire at the location, as one occurred there a few years ago. Me and the other people over me had a fret because the fire was spreading. Me glad the fire brigade come because we house would have gone. The man lucky said the good Samaritans ain't going and say fire because he was fast asleep. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.